ring the bell and let us begin. Officially say that it's Portland Insight Meditation first and third Sundays. And I'm happy we're together. And I'll ring the bell, and I think Sherry's learning it. Jai and I know it. And I think we should sing the Thich Nhat Hanh song, Breathing In, Breathing Out. And Jai, you and I will see if we can remember the words. It's like the second line that's the starter. So let's let that bell be our call to mindfulness. And in honor of Thich Nhat Hanh and his huge contribution to the West of mindfulness in our everyday lives. I looked this up actually on YouTube, and there's actually hand motions to it. And in our women's group, Sherry, I noticed that Christine knew them. But I was glad to see that there were actually hand motions, like mudras to it. But see how the key is. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming like a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid like the mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am water reflecting what is real, what is true. And I know there is space deep inside of me. I am free, I am free, I am free. That was almost the echo effect. Oh, sorry, I just muted you, but we'll carry on with it later. So here's one more calling of the bell. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming like a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as the mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am water reflecting what is real, what is true. And I know there is space deep inside of me. I am free. So we take that time to find that space deep inside of us. And while we can do this practice in our daily moving, thinking, eating, walking, standing, taking this time to have a more formal practice, to really allow what arises to be seen clearly with mindfulness. And let it pass. Notice when it passes. Most of the time, we don't exactly see it when it arises, but we can see it when it passes, because we can notice when we're waking up in the moment. And I'm going to say hi to Susie Derrickson, who's watching from New York. And I'm going to wave. She's on Facebook, so she can't talk back. And so, as we let ourselves settle into our cushion or chair, wherever we are, we can begin noticing gently, kindly, holding ourselves with appreciation and gratitude that we know this path and we're on this path. And there might be hearing that's noticeable within our internal beings or external beings. We may notice any of the other senses of touching our seat, touching our hands, maybe noticing our eyelids or our lips. All the information that we get, everything that's conditioned by our making it defined and making it so, comes to us through our senses, including the thought door. And we have the immediate feedback of realizing that at whatever sense door it's arising, we notice it. We can allow mindfulness to be there and awareness to be present. And we stay connected to what's arising, the single object that's arising, until it's gone. And awareness brings wisdom to investigate and really see and be present with knowing when it has passed, that it's impermanent and non-personal, and awakening in that very next moment. And so we have many moments of awakening while we're sitting. Every time we notice, oh, the mind has wandered, or hindrances might be there, especially this time of night. There might be tiredness and fatigue. Or maybe we keep ourselves awake by paying attention to our restless minds. We can just let whatever arises be known. Anything that arises is an object for our mindfulness and our awareness. And as we start, it's nice to have an intention, perhaps at least that of paying homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, acknowledging the Buddha and all the enlightened ones who have gone before us, who were able to see for themselves true freedom from suffering, from discomfort, by going through it and being willing to teach. And to the Dhamma itself, the teachings, the truth seen in this very moment. And to the Sangha, all of those in our own immediate Sanghas and in those before us for generations, monks, nuns, and lay people who have dedicated themselves to remembering the Buddha's teachings, recording them in such a way that it was memorizable and able to chant on to another generation. And the way that it's changed over the years and through all of the countries that it has moved through. It still has the basis of the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. And the opportunity to see directly for ourselves, to know directly what is happening now in this moment, that we can't grasp onto it, we can't push it away. It has its own timing. but it doesn't belong to us. We can't change it or rearrange it. We just see it arising and passing away. So whether we use a single object like our seat on the cushion, or a touch point of our lips or our hands, or whether we use the breath at the nostrils or the belly, or whether we just attend to each of the senses wherever we notice something. We lay a foundation of concentration, and we can build up our confidence by noticing each time something arises and passes, and it strings together moments of mindfulness. And that confidence or faith in the practice can also fuel our effort. Just enough effort and energy to be interested in what's happening. And we let each of these moments unfold with ease, with kindness, being grounded in our bodies, letting the breath be at the nostrils or anchored in the whole body as breathing, holding ourselves gently, having enough interest and energy, appreciation for this preciousness of our human birth, that we can listen to and practice the Dhamma. And the concentration that can arise from repeatedly beginning again wherever we become aware of what's happening without judgment. We can gently begin again or wake up right where we notice that we're waking up. And wisdom is present by that awareness, by noticing, here I am. We may notice that the mind wanders off or perhaps goes into tiredness. Maybe there's restlessness, sometimes there's doubt. There's pushing away and grasping, all of these hindrances that arise due to the very nature of our being born in this body and suffering happening, that we get uncomfortable about things and it's hard to let go. And so we just remind ourselves to begin again, to hold ourselves gently. Let loving kindness be part of our practice, part of our immediate practice. Kindness to ourselves while noticing whatever arises. We may notice that some things are pleasant, something else might be unpleasant. It's all fine. Anything is fair game for mindfulness. It's just noticing with a neutral eye what is happening in the present moment, whether we have attachment or aversion to it, or maybe we can't even tell. There might be confusion around it. And in that moment, mindfulness is present because we've awakened to what's happening right here and right now. And we can notice right then, oh, is this pleasant or unpleasant? And we can just carry on with the practice. asking ourselves from time to time, what is happening right now? What is the state of the mind right now? What is the attitude of the mind right now? We can always begin again or start right where we are. It's a natural process, arising and passing away. It's all part of nature. As these moments of mindfulness string together and are known clearly for their impermanent nature and being non-personal, we can recognize this and see it clearly, and those are moments of wisdom. We see clearly, we develop concentration, and wisdom arises. Sati, Samadhi, Panya. The threefold bliss. Whatever is arising due to conditions coming together. And whatever is falling apart and dissolving and flowing away is supposed to happen. Things are always falling apart, arising and passing away, arising and passing away. And we see this clearly with mindfulness, which brings the greatest happiness. So we take this opportunity to look at what is and understand it. We come into intimate contact with what's arising. We pay attention to it. We sustain our attention. We keep in contact with what's arising. This really gives us a simple understanding of what it's really like to live as a human being. We're present with what's arising. We can see that it is not something we can hang on to. Even if we try to push it away, it persists until it has its own natural ending. And with this understanding is where wisdom arises. It's inherent in us, and it's slowly revealed. And that's where gladdening of the mind, that's where joy comes from recognizing the wisdom. And this creates interest and understanding. And that in turn can reveal more to us. And it lets us look deeper into how we experience life and our relationship to the world around us. Whether you have an agitated mind or a tired mind or a joyous mind, they all arise and pass, and we're present with it. And it's from this position of wisdom that life becomes more meaningful and more stable, and happiness can flow through us in a natural way. And so we're cultivating good qualities of the mind, skillful qualities, kindness, concentration, right effort, right mindfulness. And we develop these good qualities of mind just by using the object that we're seeing, the objects that's arising, and we can come into contact with it at each of the sense doors. So we may remain aware of one object for some amount of time, and maybe we become aware of a couple of objects for some time, and the objects might change. Sometimes they become more predominant or less predominant. It doesn't really matter, but what is important is that we are aware. We don't have to put a lot of energy into it, but enough to stay interested. Just noticing when awareness is present. We're cultivating wholesome states of mind by seeing the experience clearly, feeling, hearing, interpreting our experience of our thoughts, so that we can see clearly what's arising and passing. the very qualities that are working to do meditation are skillful and wholesome qualities of mind. So at the very least, they're being cultivated. And awareness means being aware of our own experience, the experience of all of our senses and the objects, both mental and physical, that are being sensed within the body, within the mind. And so sometimes when we're in the right balance, we can be looking at something and know other things as well. They might impinge upon our awareness. We may be present of our breathing, but far away with a bird's eye view while other things are arising. And the main object just keeps the mind energized. And that energy lets us receive all the other senses as well. Skillful means. We can switch from doing something to recognizing something. And so we can actually slowly understand, what is actually happening. And as we recognize all the different ways, the aspects of the wholesome mind, through sila and samadhi and panya, through virtuous, harmonious living and concentration and wisdom, it helps us recognize the many different ways that we actually practice these skillful mind states. Like that of generosity in so many different ways, material or spiritual, and in small ways when we stay quiet so that somebody else can have time and space. We can always recognize whatever is wholesome, whether it's large or small, whatever is skillful, and not discount it. I like what Sayadaw U Tejaniya says, every time we recognize something, it's wholesome. Then if we recognize what's wholesome, we have double wholesome. There's the wholesome that we do, and the awareness that is wholesome. And even if something is unwholesome or unskillful, we're at least able to recognize it as unwholesome, and then we have still one count of wholesomeness. Because we've recognized it. So never a loss in recognizing. It's always good. And in that recognizing of generosity as the example, holding ourselves in this kindness, this generosity that we give ourselves. May we be reminded, may we really feel within our hearts, within our body as the anchor of our breath. May we really give ourselves kindness, really give ourselves well-being, carry ourselves in our hearts. That we may be free from inner and outer harm, free from suffering. May we see things clearly. Really know that everything arises and passes away and is impermanent. And that can help us really recognize peace, holding ourselves in peacefulness, ease, and well-being. Repeating a phrase that feels good for you, or just letting the energy fill you and be a part of this sense of metta, of well-being. And may we also notice compassion when things are challenging for us. May we hold ourselves in compassion. May we be with this difficulty. May we be free from this difficulty, which oftentimes takes really getting to know it. But mindfulness can be present. We can have equanimity so that we don't fall into extremes. May I be free from harm, safe and protected, have ease and well-being. May my mind be relaxed, peaceful and tranquil. Letting this kindness for ourselves be the foundation of our practice, out of which sila, samadhi, and panya can blossom. Letting this kindness also include a teacher, someone from whom we've derived great benefit. It could be a person, it could be an animal, it could be a child. Wishing them metta and karuna, including them in our heart space, wishing them to be free from harm, having this unconditional goodwill flow from us to include the teacher. May you have ease in your life. May you be peaceful and tranquil. And this too, letting our hearts and minds focus on it, becomes a concentration practice. Because the hindrances are held out. We can't think about the hindrances coming in because of the concentration that gets built up in just letting this metta and karuna flow to another person. Knowing that sometimes things are not easy, may you have compassion for yourself. May you be free from your suffering. And as we gather this sense in our hearts, inclining our minds toward metta, may we envision a close friend, someone for whom it's easy to send metta, kindness, goodwill. Seeing this person happy and healthy and letting our inclination of the mind flow to their well-being, that they be easeful, free from inner and outer harm. Safe and protected. And when challenges arise for this friend, may we envision them holding themselves with compassion, letting our open hearts include their suffering, knowing that equanimity is there, keeping the balance. Mindfulness is available as our hearts encompass our friend, sometimes suffering. May they be free from their suffering. And knowing these feelings of compassion and kindness with ourselves and our benefactor and our friend to flow to a neutral person or a group of people. Whomever you choose, it's someone that you do not have a big opinion about, might not know them at all. Or maybe you see them, but not on a regular basis, and you don't know anything about them. Letting this kindness from our hearts include a neutral person or a group of neutral beings. So much suffering all around the world in so many areas. If we can have a neutrality, an unconditional kindness without attachment to results, to flow toward those who are suffering, knowing just as I suffer, you also suffer, and just as I wish to be happy, you also wish to be happy. And letting this being or group of beings come into your heart. May you be free from harm, safe and protected. May your mind be relaxed, peaceful and tranquil. And may your body be healthy and strong. And when things are challenging, may you care for yourself gently. May you have compassion for yourself, just as I have compassion for you. Letting us touch another person's difficulty. Allowing kindness, metta, and compassion, karuna, be present with equanimity. Seeing things in balance with mindfulness. This kindness and compassion, joy and equanimity, the four Brahma Viharas, are a heartfelt practice with no boundaries. Exalted and immeasurable. And then allowing this kindness to flow toward other beings, those known and unknown, those seen and unseen, a single being or multiple beings that may be difficult to us. May this kindness flow to them from a place of neutrality, that is boundless, wishing loving kindness and compassion to others that we don't know, and to all beings, beings that swim and fly, crawl and walk, are way deep in the earth, those luminescent creatures in the sea, and those high-flying birds in the sky, and all beings known and unknown, seen and unseen, those near and far away. May all beings everywhere have happiness and the causes of happiness. May the delight and joy and gladdening in our minds flow to all beings. May all beings everywhere know happiness and the causes of happiness. Anicca vata sankhara upadavaya domino upakitawa merchanti te samvapasamo sukho. The Buddha's words in Pali. All conditioned things are subject to impermanence. They arise and pass away. Seeing this clearly with mindfulness brings the greatest happiness, which is peace. And may the merit of our practice benefit all sentient beings. The goodness of our practice, the time we take sitting still. May our hearts encompass all beings. Thank you for your practice. And we can take a few minutes as we reach for our glasses and notice mindfully when we're picking up our cup, and stand up and maybe jump up and down or stretch for a little bit. And when we come back in a few minutes, I'm going to share some of my thoughts from the weekend that I did with Ayasan Tusika last weekend, and some thoughts on agitation in the mind and grief in the mind. Bye, Susan on Facebook. Come back if you feel like it.